What if I told you that this year might be the last one where personal branding is still on easy mode? No, for real. We are entering in an age where technically everything is AI generated. YouTube vids, comments, outreach. Let me explain, but first, my name is Ben and I generated 100k with this channel you are just watching right now. I worked with people like Andrew Kirby, Sam Owens, Chase Chappell, who I helped generate over 500k with just one video and scale to 100k subscribers. And I personally have a theory about the AI age that not many people talk about. As time will go forward and we will see more and more AI generated content, my theory is that we will see a drop in trust. The other day I went to an AI meetup and the guy hosting the meetup was happy to showcase us how he used AI to technically generate a full-blown YouTube video. From cloning himself to B-rolls, technically everything. Then he asked the room, who would be down to watch this type of video? And surprisingly, not many people said yes. And Orgai didn't really understood why. The issue he thought was that the video wasn't realistic enough. But the truth is that he just completely misunderstood YouTube content. But the reality is when someone watches business content, they watch business content is because they want to hear that exact business person give a business advice, not because they want to hear the top 5 advice of an AI. But he didn't really understood this. So why am I sharing this? Because once AI is being used to generate top 5 business advices and people just read the script, it's no longer personal or a brand. The whole point of a personal brand is lost. And the scary thing is that the dead internet theory is genuinely becoming a reality. AI generated comments commenting to each other, AI generated comments pushing a book that was actually written by AI, which is so crazy. AI generated YouTube videos, bots, and the next thing you know is that the whole internet will have more AIs and more robots than humans. And if you're a business owner and you can take a few steps back, you probably see where all this space is going. People will lose trust, and once trust is lost, that's the number one thing required for selling stuff. So selling will become way harder, because suddenly people won't trust each other on the internet. So how do you build trust in this age? Do you run ads with AI generated content? Do you send outreaches with AI generated messages? I genuinely believe, as being someone coming from a lead generation agency background, that all those spaces are technically dead. No one will trust them and it's a ticking bomb. What I discovered is I believe the only thing that still works and still will be working, and that's why we see such a trend of so many big guys investing hundreds of thousands of dollars every month into their personal brand, is, as I just said, your personal brand. Because honestly think that will be the last frontier in the AI age when it comes to trust and when it comes to actually selling stuff, because all the other stuff will become obsolete. And obviously you have a few choices. You have X or Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, email list, but there is a statistic online that viewers need to see your face at least 7 hours or need to consume 7 hours of content before they choose to buy. If you compare how many tweets that is, how many TikTok or Instagram reels that is, that's a long time. Probably you also know that you don't really remember Instagram and TikTok creators as much as YouTube creators. So that's why long form content wins over short form content. And I personally don't even think that's an argument. I just think you better allocate your time to long form stuff because it's also so much better and so much more AI proof. And if it comes to long form content, I think there is two realistic choices. One is YouTube and one is having an email list. The thing with an email list is that it's also pretty easy to generate with an AI. Honestly, the only thing that if you just generally logically look at it is YouTube. Long form, personal, authentic, value giving content. Not AI generated TikTok slopes, not AI written newsletters or scheduled X posts. And that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to believe me. I have a big belief that you should be only spending time on one platform, and if you are choosing a platform and if you are only betting on one platform, I think YouTube is the best choice. You don't need to believe me, but that's at least where I'm spending my time. Because from what I learned from a lot of big YouTube strategists is that you don't really want to like spend a little time on TikTok, little time on Instagram, little time on Twitter, little time spending on YouTube, because you won't be successful on any of those platforms. You should have laser focus. And yeah, so that's why I personally want to spend time on building an audience on YouTube, because I think it's just so much superior compared to other platforms. Okay, but I went on a little tangent there. But if trust is the new currency, how do you earn it? Because there are still creators that are not really building trust, and there are people who build tremendous amount of trust. So how do you join this group and not this group? There is 4 things that I found, and they're actually pretty simple. Number 1 is actually the simplest, which is just you have to show your face and tell your real ideas, your real opinions, and technically be authentic. But it's like, I don't like that word. So you actually have to show up and be a human online. Because if your audience even suspects a little bit that you are replacing yourself, your voice, your ideas with AI, they will lose trust like this. Trust will disappear instantly, and it will be very hard to bounce back from that. Second, talk about things that you are an expert on. If you want people to trust you, just share stuff you are an expert on. Share your credentials, stuff you did in the past, stuff you learned, your personal experiences. It's so much easier to trust a person who says, here is how I made 100k, than a person who says, here is how to make 100k. You know, one already includes the fact that the person knows and made that 100k. And that's the thing that sets AI apart from humans. AI doesn't really have credentials, where you probably have. You are probably an expert on something that you can speak on. AI is not really an expert. It doesn't really have any credentials. It's just an AI. Third one, there is one type of thing you can make that only you can make and no AI or no human can copy, which is stories. Stories are the thing that we have been using since the beginning of humanity to spread ideas technically. It's the most effective tool to spreading ideas, ideologies, and just getting your point across. You see them in self-help books, you see fictions books written about them. It's literally the most underrated tools being a good storyteller. You telling stories is what sets you apart from everyone else, because you can tell your own stories. Someone else can't tell your story. Those things are only specific to you, so it's a super underrated thing, but I very, very much recommend getting really good at storytelling, because it will help you with so many things. And in the age of content creation, it's one of the most, if not the best, tool to grab attention. But here's the thing, even if you implement all these 3 things, you will start to face a new issue: distribution. Once you go against thousands of pieces of AI content, it will be pretty hard to stand out, because all of those people will be fighting for the same attention. So how do you make sure your ideas get heard, not the other people's ideas? How do you make sure your videos get 1,000 views instead of 10 views? How do you make sure people actually listen to you and actually consume your ideas? Because most people actually don't have an idea problem. They have a problem of communicating their ideas. And the answer to that is getting good at packaging your ideas and technically wrapping your ideas in a package that actually makes them very attractive to the viewers to consume. Having the title, thumbnail, editing on point, so people actually want to consume your ideas. Because we are far away from the age where you can just turn on a shitty phone and just talk and be authentic. You have to have some X factor, right? But I know you, and probably you just prefer to turn on the camera, share your valuable advices, and just turn off the camera. You're probably busy and you probably don't want to think about packaging and editing, and that's exactly why I started Idea Sculptors, the studio, which is technically my new creative studio, where we help business owners just like you with video editing and with packaging their ideas into videos that actually grab attention. We work with people like Andrew Kirby, Sam Owens, Chase Chappell, and most of their videos generally don't get many views. However, they attract the most of the right people. So they are able to attract real buyers and not just go viral. So if you're a business owner, founder, entrepreneur who wants help with their personal brands, then check out the link in the description. And as always, my name is Ben, and see you in the next one.